On behalf of Sri Aurobindo Society, Chennai, we welcome you all to this Saturday satsang. And today we have with us Madam Deepshika Reddy. She is basically an ashram product, studied in the ashram school, had the blessings to get guidance from the mother directly, and she had spent most of her life in the field of education. And she's also a singer of hymns and bhajans at Sri Aurobindo and Auroville. And mostly her field of activity is education. She's the wife of Dr. Anand Reddy, who needs no introduction to us. He's a director of SACA Sri Aurobindo Center for Advanced Research in Pondicherry. And he also was fortunate enough to get direct guidance from the mother. So we welcome you, Madam Shika Reddy, to our satsang. And to tell you about this satsang, we have been conducting this Saturday satsang online for the last 4 years. And we invite speakers from all over India, speakers who are very closely associated with Sri Aurobindo and the mother, who speak about integral yoga and mostly concerned with the teachings of the mother and Sri Aurobindo. So I welcome you to this meeting. And now I hand over this forum to you. Please take over, and I request you to give your talk. Thank you very much.
Namaskar, everyone. My introduction by Shivakumar ji was basically okay, except only one thing that I should mention, that I am not a product of Sri Aurobindo Ashram Center of Education. Even though I have been coming here since the age of 13, I am from Delhi and Delhi University, as a matter of fact, and I was in the school, Delhi school, Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch, uh, the first branch, one of the very, very first branches, as a matter of fact, because to my knowledge, the Calcutta Pathu Mandir had started when Sri Aurobindo was there. So this, the first relics was sent by the mother to Delhi in 1956. And the school had just started. So I am a product of that school, and that's why we had a great edge, in the sense that when we came here, we could go more often to the mother. We had somehow greater opportunities, on some pretext or the other, to be able to go to her. And since we were very small, so we could get gifts and chocolates and cakes and things like that. Um, yeah, that's the only correction that I have to do. But I joined the ashram in 1969. I'll come to you through my talk, I'll tell you. And thereon I stayed there. Well, yes, I had a talk with Shivakumar ji, And I told him that my first talks, wherever it is, are always on the mother. And it is only after that, if they like me to give further talks on Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, I do that. But my first talks on any topic of the mother, whether her work for the earth or whatever it is, why was she born in France? Why is it that for doing the tapasya, a collaborative tapasya with Sri Aurobindo, she had to choose India? Whatever, it is on whatever topic, but it's on her only, actually. But today I would like to speak, it's going to be more a storytelling like thing today. I'd like to speak about the mother, how she built this wonderful ashram brick by brick, so to say, from 1926 till her late years, how she guided each sadhak in their individual sadhana as well in their life of outer activities. Sadhana is the inner activity and through the outer activity that we do, and so on. It's like, really, as I told you, it will be like a storytelling because I'll give some of my own experiences and whatever I saw around. Is going to be no philosophy, no psychology. It is simply bathing in her grace and light and love. Because, to speak about her and her ways is, as you all know, is you have been having this satsanga, as I came to know, for the last 4 years. It is impossible, isn't it, to speak about her or to know her, of course, no doubt about it. Because there was nothing mortal about her, or Sri Aurobindo, or Sri Krishna, or Sri Ramachandra. They are avatars who manifest only for certain works on this earth to push forward the evolution and our life. Therefore, we mortals cannot understand them fully, but we can experience their grace and love for us. I will take the support of the little booklet, The Mother, which we call the Bija Mantra to all of us by Sri Aurobindo as my support. In between, you see, this is the first time in the spiritual history of the earth when two avatars had to come down. Never it happened ever earlier, isn't it? It was to bring down the supermind. It was that much of a tremendous difficult task about which we get a glimpse when we read the Savitri. However, in the 20s, there were very few people here in the ashram. I'm talking about 1920s. In the 30s, more sadhaks had joined, but it was since the beginning of the World War II. World War II means 1939, 1940 onwards, that quite a few families started arriving in the ashram for shelter, and the number of devotees started expanding. Mother had to then shape the ashram according to everyone's need and requirements. The older sadhaks, when I was very young, I used to talk to the older sadhaks very often. They used to say that left to Sri Aurobindo, our ashram would have been one like normal monastic, these Indian ashrams, very austere and monastic or monastery like stoic, very austere life with very hard disciplines. But mother was the mother of all of us. And the ashram grew most organically, department by department, garden by garden, individual, every individual's qualities, that she saw to express one's talents in whichever ways they could. She gave us the full liberty with utmost love to flourish and bloom under her loving guidance and care. It's really not very easy to speak about her, what one experiences, what one experienced when one was young. But in the beginning, when the mother came to settle here permanently, that was in 1920, right? Exactly 104 years ago, there were quite a few people who did not take her so kindly as she was a foreigner. You must be knowing it. Everyone at that time came here for Sri Aurobindo alone. Neither did they know, nor did they want to accept her as their guru or as the mother. Then Sri Aurobindo wrote this. It was at that time that Sri Aurobindo wrote the sixth chapter in this little book, The Mother, describing who really the mother is. She is not any Indian or Westerner. She is the supreme Shakti, the eternal force and power of the divine, without whom nothing can move in this universe. That is how he established the mother, somewhat like we establish an image or a godhead or an idol, you know, like we do the prana pratishtha in a temple. The priest chants the mantras and invokes life and breath into it, no? Somewhat like that. And one day then Sri Aurobindo, for the first time, uttered and addressed her as Ma, Ma, the mother or the mother. The date and time is also recorded, which I have now forgotten. It is therefore that our integral yoga cannot be followed or done without the help, grace, and support of the mother. We cannot practically take one single step without her assistance in integral yoga. I'm talking about integral yoga. This is to be experienced only when we start doing the sadhana. Theoretical book knowledge is very different from when one starts doing the yoga sadhana in their daily life, in our daily life. One then starts understanding the difference, between rice and wheat and barley. What is the meaning of sadhana? The intricate, the detailed uh, intricacies, the difficulties, the play of the vital, the play of falsehood in the mind, all the things, the play of the ego, trying to govern us much, much widely, much more powerfully than the psychic being. I had joined the ashram in 1969. I came for the first time, of course, in 1959 when I was 13, but then we used to come and go at that time. We were in the school, and in 1969, I joined the ashram. That is around 55 years back. At that time, mother used to admit each person after examining in her own way. First, we had to send the photograph. However, I was pretty young and did not understand anything at all about yoga. I had read only one book, The Basis of Yoga, a very difficult book that I heard every incoming sadhak in the earlier days than mine had to read. Not that I understood much at all, but I liked the book. One day I asked an elderly gentleman An old sadhak here, whom I called uncle in Delhi, we used to call everybody auntie and uncle if they were elderly people. This gentleman had come in 1930s, you see, about 30 years before when I was asking him, more than 30 years before, when I asked him the question, to what is the meaning of sadhana? And if he got any guidance from Sri Aurobindo about this. He said that Sri Aurobindo told him, rather wrote to him in a letter, these are not the real words, what he told me, I'm telling you the essence of it. Rather wrote to him to do nothing, only to keep himself open and make space within himself for the mother to work within him. I felt absolutely baffled at that. And I looked so dumb as I just could not understand anything. I used to consider myself educated from Delhi University, just did away with my PhD scholarship as I became an ashramite. And here I just feel so inadequate in front of an old man speaking to me, that too in Hindi. And I'm not understanding what he's meaning. He said, very loving gentleman he was. He must have noticed my predicament. I mean, uh, he was told to surrender and offer all to the mother. When he saw my blank face with so much resistance in me, he lovingly said, making space for the mother means giving space to her. We are always so full of ourselves, so full with ourselves. Our thoughts, our opinions, our looks, our judgments, our preferences, ourselves, that we do not think of anything else. Sri Aurobindo meant that we have to make an intimate contact with the mother. And how do we make that contact? By intimacy. Now, what is that kind of intimacy? By thinking and remembering someone that we love. Then we like to do everything for her. When we love somebody, then we would like to do everything to please that person, whatever he likes, the way he likes things. Love is giving, he said. That is what is actually surrender. Then I asked him, then what is the meaning of offering? Then he said, remembering the one we love and doing all for her is offering. It is a simultaneous action, not separated from the other. Not that it was that easy, but you know, when you get somebody who is so lovingly trying to explain things to you, it impresses you somewhere deep. After all, I was not very old, no, I was just 23. And he was, I told you in brief, he was trying his best to see that I understand something. So it was not that easy to understand, because in those days, you know, we saw the mother, we could write to her whenever we needed to ask her for anything. We didn't take her that seriously. And she had a tremendous magnetic pull. Still, most of us didn't know at all who she was, who really she was, or we even wanted to know. She is there for us, kind of a thing, you know. She was our mother, our goddess, our most intimate friend and guide, just that, you know. She's the goddess, she's this, she's that, all those things that we came to know later. The Aditi, the supreme Aditi, the supreme Shakti of the divine. None of these things we knew at all. So after his lovely explanation, I understood one thing, that she is the pivot of our yoga. That uncle also told me something that I can never forget. He said, even if you forget Sri Aurobindo, it doesn't matter. But you cannot afford to forget the mother. You have to hold her finger. You have to be intimate with her. You have to tag along with her. I felt very hurt because for no known reason available to me that I can explain, I just adored Sri Aurobindo, even without reading any of his books. Basis of Yoga was the first book that I read, which I hardly ever understood at that time. It's so difficult even now to understand, as a matter of fact. It's one of those mantric books, as a matter of fact. Um, so I had a blind love for Sri Aurobindo. But there he says, I've come to Sri Aurobindo ashram. He says, it doesn't matter, but it's only the mother. Of course, and I told you how we knew the mother as. So I'll tell you here a few little incidents. One of the first learnings that I had was, when I came very newly, I was attached to a group in Sri Aurobindo Society. Now Sri Aurobindo Society is completely constructed newly, isn't it? But at that time, so many 5-6 decades before, earlier, it was the old building, and there was a library, and there was a gentleman called Norman Dowsett, and he was also in education. Later on, he was given the charge of Auroville education, where we also went. Mother had sent me and Anand both to the school when the school was starting in 1971 in Auroville. So I was working with a group over there, and there came about some problem, some disharmony, some problem, which is normal, which happens, which can happen, and which happens also many times everywhere. So a letter was written to the mother, and the answer comes that, not the exact words, but the essence of it, that you have to go above, or say higher in your consciousness, to be able to solve this issue correctly. Which meant that so long as you are in this consciousness, horizontal consciousness, you cannot solve this particular problem. What was, I don't remember, but it was a problem of harmony, basically. Yeah, there were differences of opinion in a manner that it was not very easy to work happily, peacefully, happily. So that was the first time I came to know that you have to go above. So that means there are things above us. And that gave me the first question. I only knew about making space in the heart. But what is above? So then the quest started. What is it? What is going above? Because you see, I had not read the books, as I told you by then, no? So I didn't know much about all of this. So it was then to find out about the consciousness itself, what is consciousness, and then slowly, kind of how to purify oneself, I mean about yoga, about sadhana. If not, how to go above at least the ranges that are above the mind. And I mean, I started reading how people reach them. Of course, that is something uh, much later that one can understand, not at that time. But about these levels, consciousness, slowly the interest grew, after this letter. I was given to work in the beginning in Corner House. And Corner House is a children's kitchen. It was the children's kitchen, and I never knew any cooking. So I had to learn cooking for the first time. And oh, that's a different story, and it's a very interesting story. But I'll just tell you that once there was, because we are talking about the mother, so let's keep to her only. Uh, Milk sweet was made, and it was served to around 300 students used to be there. Now the number has lessened. Uh, and for whatever reason, children became sick. Many of them had to be admitted to the nursing home after eating that milk sweet prepared by us in the corner house. The news went to the mother, and she sent uh, her this thing back. Uh, you know, she wrote that when there is disharmony and we are cooking food for the children with some problem within us, it is then that this kind of thing happens, because it is a problem of harmony. So we have to become very, very careful about keeping us together. Not us means keeping all of us, keeping myself within myself. So looking into analyzing one's thoughts, analyzing one's emotions, if I'm getting a reaction, if I am becoming angry, or if I am becoming jealous, or if I am reacting funnily, why is this happening? From where is this reaction coming? I was studying about things which was above the mind, or mind, and then this ranges above the mind. But now started looking inside, because I have to have harmony within myself. What is the meaning of the parts within myself, the levels within myself? How to be able to look inside when this kind of thought is coming within me? From where is it coming? Why am I reacting like this? I mean, the whole range, as you know. Then once again, there was a lot of problem in Corner House. I'm talking about 1971, because 1 year, and then she sent me on 15th of August 1972 to Auroville School, because the school had just started in 71, 16th of December. Okay, now there was again problem. There's problem everywhere where human beings are, because we are expert in making things messy and difficult, isn't it? If we are not conscious, then, and you can imagine we were perhaps quite not conscious. And Then Pranabda said, everyone is going to the mother. In November, it was one day, I don't remember the date. We are all going to see the mother. Things are going beyond control, and she wants to see all of us. So we all went to her room quietly. You know, it's a completely, it's something that I cannot explain what it was to be with her in front of her. It was something unexplainable. So we all went, and absolutely pin drop silence. We were so many, so nobody did any pranam to her. We all sat quietly. And there was one girl, she was the youngest of all. She started telling the mother in Bengali that this is what is happening in the corner. Mother heard her fully, and then she said, okay. She didn't say anything, sorry. She just. And then after that, we were all quiet, absolutely. And then she brought down peace. And she said 3 times, very clearly, peace, peace, peace. And till today I can tell you that it was the establishment of peace. It was something absolutely divine, ethereal, something I cannot describe. And then very slowly we all did pranam and came. And you can't imagine, everything became fine in contact. Everything. As if somebody came and touched a golden divine rod and transformed everything. That was the magic she had. What is that higher power she brought down that day? I don't know. Or the highest power, I don't know. On Thursdays, we used to send cooked food, our food, lunch to the mother. And on Thursdays, we used to, that was the only day we used to cook non-veg, veg and non-veg. There were students who were also vegetarian students, many, and there were many, in fact, more were non-vegetarian students. They were all students coming from families. So that's one of the reasons why mother allowed for them all kinds of very good protein food, because she said they have not yet joined the ashram. In the ashram dining room, we do not even have onion or garlic, not even, jackfruit. That jackfruit, when it's not a fruit, when it is a vegetable, not yet become a fruit. We Bengalis and Orias, Eastern Belt people, we love to eat vegetable. We consider it a very good vegetable, and it's cooked just like mutton. And we wanted to cook, people in dining hall. I have just heard it. And when it was told to the mother, and it was taken to the mother, mother said, no, you cannot cook this because this has got the element of non-veg in this. this vegetable cannot be allowed in the dining room. So in the dining room for the sadhaks, everything is restricted. But in corner house, all that everything was allowed. And I was the one who used to cook the non-veg. And the best thing was that food used to go in a big tiffin box to the mother that day, lunchtime. And of course, mother was a pure vegetarian. Never has she had even taken an egg. So she used to give the food to those who used to eat upstairs. But then half of the food used to come back to us. And we used to go running, at 1 o'clock to take the prasad because mother used to, in front of the mother, the tiffin box used to be opened in front of her and she used to hold the tiffin box like this and she used to concentrate and bless. And also Pranabda said that she used to take the, fragrance of food, what was there, what was made. So it became a prasad for us, no? So we used to run, in the afternoon to distribute it among all of us and eat. So one day, what happened? By the way, how much time do I have? Can you tell me?
Deepshika ji, you can speak up. You can speak up to 5 o'clock.
Up to
Five
5 o'clock.
5:15. Yeah, five or 5:15. Also, you can take another.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much because I forget the time. Okay.
Okay.
And then after that, what was I saying? About the food, right? So I was cooking meat that particular day, and by mistake, you cannot, while frying meat, if you put the tomatoes, and you can imagine you are cooking for more than 200 people, and so much of tomatoes, no? So if you put it, then the meat does not become soft, and the food have to be ready by 11:30, and I put the tomatoes and I started frying, and then somebody comes and tells me, "What have you done?" I said, "Oh my God, I think I was absent minded. So, how can it get cooked? It cannot possibly get cooked. Impossible." I got so frightened with my apron on, I ran to the Samadhi. Somebody told me on the way, "Please take off your apron at least." I didn't even know that. I went and absolutely, fell flat on the Samadhi. And mother was those upstairs, no? And I said, "Oh, Ma, how do I give you the food if it's not ready? And the children will come. What do I do? I made this terrible mistake. And I don't know. I mean, I just, I said, this is what has happened. And you have to do something. And that's all about it. You can't let me down. I have made a mistake. I know. But something has to be done. And believe it or not, 11:30, everything was ready and perfect. That is exactly that kind of trust we had on the mother. That come what may, she's there with us, kind of a thing. And it was really kind of a miracle. Even those who saw, there was a lady called Chanchal when she was much older to us. Even she said, "Deepshika, I couldn't imagine that it can be cooked today." I said, "I went to head office and told." So that kind of a thing, with full trust in her. For when we used to go to picnics, we'd ask for permission for anything. My throat was bad because I used to sing. And once she told me, "No, no, you must stop talking." And she knew how difficult it is. I also wrote to her, "How can anyone?" I was not a very good person, very disobedient sometimes, no. I said, "How is it possible?" And then I got a scolding anyway. But then first time she sent me a huge, big, beautiful laddu. And Pranabda said it will be difficult for her to take the answer. So she sent me a laddu. So what I mean to say is that everything we used to write to her. In Aspiration, when we joined, uh, my husband wrote to her. We wanted to do meditation under a very beautiful tree was there, you know. We wanted to do meditation. A few of us, we wrote to her, and then she wrote us back that concentrate in the heart center, not in the or not on the forehead. This, you know, every little thing she would answer, and so we always thought that she's there for us. And earlier people were even more, you know. And a much elderly friend of mine told me that she went to the mother and she said, "Look at the pimple I've got here." She said, "Oh my, yeah, you do really have a pimple." Then she goes inside and she brings a cream and she said, "You apply it and come to me after after a few days. It should work." And then, you know, like, uh, we had, she had introduced shorts, half pants for girls, no? For the first time in Pondicherry for physical education. But she was very particular that girls should not go with shorts anywhere other than the playground and sports ground and tennis ground. And then they must immediately put on their frocks and whatever skirts and whatever, and go out to other places. Absolutely, she used to be very careful, and to the extent, these elderly ladies used to say that she never liked the blouses, where a little bit of our stomach is shown. Na? She used to say, no, the blouses you make longer enough so that your body part should not be seen. And then she used to sometimes do like this, and how tight you have worn your blouse. You are not supposed to wear anything that tight. It's not good for circulation. Those, those with whom she did these, she told, they have told me actually, very discreet in, in her, very thoughtful, you know. When I was, another little story I'll say, you know, when I was in the school, when first time I went, when I was 13 years old, at that time, for the first time, I had put some nail polish on my nails in the school, in Delhi school. And our principal, he was a great sadhak, great sadhak. He came and he lived here for a very, very long time in the ashram. He was but very traditional and very stoic. And he gave me a big scolding. He said, how can you put nail polish? As if I did a crime, you know. I cried a lot, and our science teacher took me to the laboratory and put some acid, and it was all gone. But I kept on thinking, what is the mistake I did? I got such a scolding. And then, for the first time, we came here in December. And first day, when I went to the mother, you know what I see? She was wearing the same kind of nail polish on her fingernails. Toenails we could never see because she would always wear a socks like thing. They used to come from Japan. They used to be called tabi, So she used to wear those sock like things. So we could not. So whenever we did pranam on the tabi, on the socks, her socked feet, But I saw that and I felt so happy. Then I said, "Oh my God, I haven't done anything very bad," like that, So the simplest thing that we were taught, uh, how to remember the mother, as that gentleman uncle said, uh, was, as we were told, by becoming intimate. How to become intimate? By mm, talking to her, uh, telling her everything, everything. I'm planning something, I'm doing something. I'm dusting, I'm sweeping, I'm teaching, I'm preparing for my talk. I'm going to cook today this particular onion sambar. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I have a music program, how to plan it. Can you help me? These are the songs I've chosen. Everything that comes to your mind. And that is the way that she'll become so intimate to you that slowly you will understand her guidance to the extent that indications will come if anything goes wrong, when things go wrong, naturally, because finally we are guided by our ego, not by our psychic being, unless and until our sadhana is well advanced. But then you will be guided. Shivakumarji has said that loving guidance of the mother, the guidance will come when you let her guide us. And when we are able to make space within ourselves, that space we can make only when we are able to think of her, remember her, offer her as much as possible. It is supposed to be every moment. It's very difficult. Okay, after all these little stories, I'll tell you that in the book, The Mother, Sri Aurobindo describes the four powers and personalities of the mother. You all know that, right? These are Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati. Now, this is the first time we all know that the mother, the Supreme Aditi, has manifested with these four powers of hers for her to work on this earth. Here, while building the ashram, it is interesting to see how she used these powers of hers to manifest the needed virtues or qualities or beauty or perfection, whatever. Mostly we see her in the Mahalakshmi Rupa and Mahasaraswati Rupa. One cannot imagine the amount of concentrated energy and consciousness they had poured into the building of Golconda, for that matter. You know, if you ever have read its history, if you haven't, when you read, you'll see, you'll understand it is unthinkable. Likewise, the departments or the most wonderful gardens from where flowers come, you know, when mother had come long back, I'm talking about 1920s, there were hardly any gardens here, roses especially. She used to love roses, absolutely. But so these gardens were made here by the mother with the help of such people who were completely dedicated to nature, to botany. Oh my God, their story is out of the world actually, you know. All the flowers, you know, that come daily for the samadhi or every house or every department. Many, many flowers come. When in the beginning years, almost there were no gardens, as I told you. Our land in the Lake Estate, which is around 7 kilometers away, it is seeped with the mother's tender care and consciousness. You know, this whole ashram is the loving cradle that she herself built for our sadhana. We are all so fortunate to be embraced by her grace and light and love. I don't know how much we deserve, but it has been given to us. Wherever we are. I'm not meaning only ashram or Auroville or anything. Now she is absolutely universal. It's just a question of remembering her. And then there she is. When we were young, at that time we never knew all these things. We were here only because we got terribly attracted by her. What was the attraction? For what we left Delhi or Bombay or Nagpur, or foreigners came from foreign countries, nobody knew. And most of us took the mother really, really as if for granted. She is there for us. We don't need to do anything. It took us a very long time to kind of know all of that, you know. Philosophically, who she is, we came to know much later after reading and hearing after reading many books and hearing many talks. When she sent me to the newly founded Auroville School in 1971 as a teacher, and I joined in 1972, many snakes used to be seen uh, around us on a daily basis. Because for the first time, those fields, those lands, uh, they were being inhabited by us. So it's quite natural that local villages were there around, but Auroville land was all virgin. So for settlement, when we go, then we disturb them, isn't it? Scorpions and snakes, things like that. We were managing with this menace when we heard that Nagaraj, the head of the snake god, had visited the mother and said that none of her children will be stung by any snake. Hearing this, we were so happy. Believe it, I have had cobra in my room. I was sleeping and the rooms were barely 10 by 10, so small. And the cobra was in the corner. You know, we have had cobras, vipers, a crate in a small, tiny children's class, you know, and crate, in Tamil, they call it 1.5 steps. You can't any further walk, you fall dead. But we had no casualty. Then somebody came called Jean from France, and he was a snake. He was something else. He was an engineer and all that, but he was also a snake catcher. And he taught us 2 days. He took a workshop. He brought all kinds of snakes he had caught. There's a big cage, and he taught us about snakes, which were very poisonous, semi-poisonous, non-poisonous, so that we are not afraid, because every day, on a daily basis, three or four snakes we will encounter with, and he made us touch snakes, and they are cold as such, and we little bit, we became more confident and we lost our fear about snakes. Just like this, um, we had a lot of water scarcity in Auroville in the beginning. I'm talking about the beginning days, So, so we were there with children. Our food used to come from Sri Aurobindo Society in a bullock cart. And the bullock cart used to take a long time to come, bring the food here. Children would feel hungry. Then I wrote to the mother that can I cook something for the children? Because I was a cook already, in Corner House. And I got the permission and I bought the first heater. I used to just boil the chickpeas and things like that. And there was a mango garden here, and we used to all pluck mangoes. Children used to pluck mangoes, and we used to make mango jam for the children, so that with bread they could have when the food is coming very late from Pondi, So we used to have scarcity of water. We had sometimes no water where we were living in aspiration, and I used to take 3 4 children with a bucket near the now things have changed quite a lot. That is near the, it would be now close to the Orolet, So there was a tap over there. I'd go there and give the children a bath and wash the clothes and come back. Putting a little water in the bucket, we'd all come back. That was the scarcity we had. So then, one day what the mother said? Mother said that there is hiding a Ganesh statue here. And she showed the place, where it is. Very on the corner of the Oro orchard. It was not the Oro orchard land as such, but It was absolutely close, beside. And over there. And then she deputed a lady called Kusumben to propitiate the Lord. The whole place was cleaned, kind of a small little temple was built because the statue was already there. And Kusumben was given the responsibility to, put the dhupam, deepam, and whatever flowers and everything, fruits, to the Lord and do the puja of the Lord morning and evening. Both the times she used to come. She used to live in Promise, and I used to be her neighbor for some time. So she used to go every day, and mother told her to do that work, and she did it most sincerely. And then the way water came, the way water, flooded us, that today Auroville is a sanctuary. When we go from Pondicherry to Auroville, there is a difference of 2 to 3 degrees temperature. It's cooler. It's much cooler over there. But in Thane cyclone, of course, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trees, came down, fell down. And of course, they again uh, put many, many trees. So now these are the stories, not stories, in those days people used to go to the mother and mother used to communicate with them. In her last years, she built Auroville, right? Almost last 5 years or so. And she gave so much time to building of Auroville, and we used to. So there are certain things that don't have any record, so to say, in books or this thing, maybe in letters or just to the people it remained. But why I am saying this to you is that I lived there for 8 long years, and I believe it fully because I saw it grow. I saw Auroville grow. I saw when Lord Ganesha blessed us with water. I saw how the snake god kept his promise, and snakes even now in green belt, huge big snakes. You go there, you will see. At night, when we walk, we always walk with torches, and because of our footfall, they don't like to actually invade us as such, but they just move away. Even now, there are areas, forest areas, a lot of them, as a matter of fact. Uh, the whole bioregion now of that of Auroville is very different from uh, Pondicherry. Uh, I feel personally all because of Lord Ganesha. Like this, many, many gods used to come and regularly visit the mother. In the early years of 1940s and 50s, there were many Bengali families here. And they requested, we Bengalis, we do Durga Puja, no, in a very big way, so to say. So they requested the mother on Durga Puja day, Lakshmi Puja day, Kali Puja day, please to, give darshan. So mother gave special darshan on these puja days. That is how all the puja darshan had started, which are continuing till today. And we have accounts when the devotees had seen the goddess in the mother at the time of darshan. I'll narrate another interesting incident. Once on another occasion, on a non-puja day, one lady saw Durga in the mother. She narrated this experience to Panditji. Panditji means Madhav Panditji. And he reported it to the mother when he went to her the next day. The mother said, in essence, these are not her words, that now I understand why Durga came to me all on a sudden yesterday. Normally, she always informs me earlier. Now I understand it is because of her that lady's ardent aspiration. Like this, I know a few more who had seen different gods here in their vision and got confirmed by the mother that the gods had descended to help her in her work, and by way of which those who were receptive could see those gods in their visions or in their dreams or whatever it is. Uh, in those early days, mother used to give darshan to meet people quite a few times in a day, from morning to evening. You know. Once, a young lady, while waiting for the mother with her flower plate, got bored and left. Later, the mother commented that, again, these are not her words exactly, but her words are there in the book. They are recorded. You can't even wait this much for me? Gods and goddesses do tapasya to have one glimpse of mine over a long time. Normally, she would never utter this kind of dejection, but that day it looks she felt quite sad. We have absolutely no capacity at all to know the ways of the divine. We are mere humans, living only because of her grace. Anyway, all these stories I told you was to lead you to her divine aspects and essential qualities. Sri Aurobindo states that she has three different poises with which she works through the three different worlds for the universe, and they are transcendental, universal, and the individual. Now, this is high philosophy, but I'll take you through more understandable passage to give you a true glimpse of the mother. To prove all that I've been discussing with you now, the following sentence I think must be read out. To walk through life armored against all fear, peril, and disaster, only two things are needed. Two that always go together: the grace of the Divine Mother, and on your side, an inner state made up of faith, sincerity, and surrender. This gives us an idea of a true place in our sadhana that cannot be done without her, that without her direct grace and guidance. I already told you that she is the Shakti of the Supreme, and she has manifested this time with four different aspects of hers: Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati. These have a great play in our lives, even though we are not conscious of this. For those of you who may not know, I'll give some practical examples. After the release of this book, The Mother, someone asked the mother whether all that Sri Aurobindo had written was all true. The mother answered affirmatively. Then he requested her to show these aspects to him. I wonder what must have been the aspiration, such intense aspiration of this devotee, that the mother really released all these four aspects in front of him, all these four Devi aspects, one by one. We read the same experiences in Prithidi's book, The Eternal Moments. Those of you who have not read, you must read this book. It's a wonderful book. How she, in the playground, she showed Prithidi all her four rupas. Very few people. My father-in-law, Dr. Madhusudan Reddy, was also one of the very fortunate ones who were shown the four rupas. Very few handful of people are there. She also used to say that all her photos display some of her aspects. Therefore, she used to choose the photos to give to the ashramites, according to their need or aspiration or their level of sadhana, you know. So gods used to feel free with the mother, and Sri Aurobindo said that the mother is the mother of all gods. Lord Ganesha almost feels like a family member. You all perhaps know, na? Uh, you know, you should read that book of Himmat Singh Ji, in which a very big, very long description of Lord Ganesha is given. Beautiful. And you all must be knowing, though I will repeat, I've got only 4 more minutes, that our Ganesh temple that is here, our Ganesha in Pondicherry Manakular Vinayagam is the Swayambhu, came from the Manal, no, of the ocean, and he used to come very often to the mother. One day he was very pensive and very, thoughtful, and he was walking up and down in front of her, and then she said, "What is it?" Then he said, "My devotees are not able to do pradakshina properly because one side there is a wall of your house." Then mother said, "All right." The very next day she, talked to the building department people, and that wall was removed so that people could do full pradakshina on all four sides. And still now there is a plaque. When you go inside, you will see. So this temple is a very Jagrata temple, very awakened Ganesh temple. So when you next time visit, you can maybe remember this story, those of you who may not know. So spirituality is nothing but faith, sincerity, and surrender. These are the three things. All our devotion is composed of only these three virtues. It's a matter of a growing consciousness and constant contact with our Guru or Ishtadevata or the Master or the Mother whom we worship. If we can develop these virtues, living our daily life in right balance and harmony, one does not have to go to the Himalayas or join any ashram. One can live anywhere and feel her presence, feel the presence of the divine all the time with them wherever they are. I think I should stop here, though once you start speaking of the mother, there's no end to it, and we can go on speaking on all different levels that she has been working. But I must stop. There should be a stop. So it's time for me. Thank you all very much for your patient hearing, and maybe see you later again. Bye-bye. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Deepshika ji. And our listeners may have some thoughts to share. So, if anyone wants to share anything, you please share with Madam Ji.
Yes, you're most welcome. Anyone
Yes,
wanting to ask anything?
yes,
We were very much liked by Anandji's lecture, the mother, his days with mother as a childhood as a student of the school and all. We were
Yes.
now overwhelmed by your talk and your experience with mother. So now we are not able to who is better or who is best, and everything is my mother. I may be wrong in my expression and all, but I am very much blessed with mother's love through your lecture. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much. There is, sir, there's no better or anything. It is all, remembering her is the best. This is the best satsang one can ever have. Remembering the divine, isn't it? I mean, every one of us feels so good whether you tell a story or I tell a story. Well, it's a different thing that we had the good luck, like we used to feel, that, oh, you have seen Sri Aurobindo, you have been in Sri Aurobindo's time, how he used to be. Somebody told me that, he never blinked at all. So all these things, like that, those who haven't seen the mother physically, they feel for us that, oh, her hands were so soft. Yes, they were so soft when, like all the, but then at the same time, I can tell you one thing, at least those of you who have not seen the mother, um, that the kind of devotion and the kind of surrender I have seen in people who haven't seen the mother, but they have dedicated themselves to Mother and Sri Aurobindo is something that is, I mean, most wonderful to me, and that's what I feel is the treasure, and I absolutely salute them, all those who haven't seen the mother, but they have realized them mother's love, mother's grace in them. Once by great mistake, I told a very group of students, young group of students, something while talking to them. Many of them used to come to me to talk. By mistake, I made one little sentence. I said that, well, she's not there now, and one of them in the group immediately said, how can you say that? How can you? I said, I just, got startled and I looked at them. I said, what did I say? Oh, I said, I meant physically. I said, no. Yeah, yeah, sure. No, she's there. We feel her. I just, became absolutely quiet and went little within myself. I said, what have you done, Dipshika? You have done a great mistake. These people are imbued with her love. And, so, I mean, so beautiful, so beautiful. So it is, whenever we speak about her in whatever form, it is just Ananda, you know. Thank you.
Definitely, ma'am. He used to say, I used to rush as a child to go to Panditji's shop, get the photograph, go and get mother's signature. Then
Yeah.
his first day experience at Arabil, mother asked Anandji to go to Arabil, and immediately he obeys. There was no basic facilities at Arabil, but
No, he
once
went
mother has
walking. Yeah, he went walking
given,
ultimately.
so he immediately went to Arabil. So
Yeah,
we were very much blessed with his lectures and this thing. I am a
yeah.
great lover of his lecture. So thank you, madam. Thank you.
Sure.
And
Thank you.
thank you. Varadarajan sir, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Indeed, thank you very, very much.
Dipshika ji, so I remember you said you sang to 10 stanzas of Tirupurad when Chief Minister Karunanidhi ji came to Aurobindo. You remember that?
Yes, I remember. Yeah, I sang Agara Mudala.
Yes. So when I was a student, it was very beautiful. And the Chief Minister also said, Aurobindo, after hearing all that, Tirupurad said, it will go like an arrow from the Aurobindo means from the arrow will go from the bill, his bow, straight to the target. He is a great extempore speaker, beautiful. So all those things came beautifully when we sang. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Vasanta madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, Murali.
Madam,
Yes.
your lecture or sharing was really interesting and uplifting, I can say. Especially when you mentioned or described your experience and you had the problem in corner house and when you all met mother, And when she said peace, I really felt as if it's happening directly before me. So great, madam. So nice to hear you, who has been associated with the mother so closely. Many of your sharing was really useful to me. It will be useful to me in the future also. Thank you so much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dhanasekaran, please.
Namaste ji. Thank you,
Namaste.
sir. So we have seen Dr. Reddy in form of you, madam. So
No,
we
sir.
had the immense pleasure today. We have no words to convey our gratitude, our immense pleasure today.
No.
Through you, we have seen Reddy ji and you. Your lecture was so nice and it was a boon for us to hear through you. The experience with the mother are very wonderful. It will so useful for us. I have to thank Sivkumar ji to invite you to introduce us. It is our mother's grace today for us all. Thank you, ma'am. Please, often you come and give some so much lecture to us. Thank you.
Kandipa,
Thank you so much.
Kandipa. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, Shivji.
Deepshika ji, thank you. First of all, let me start by thanking the mother, because I think in the morning you sent a message that the cyclone was looming large, and you were a bit concerned whether we would be able to
Amama.
conduct the satsang or not, connectivity would be there or not. You
Amama.
had your own concerns. And I
Correct.
think by the mother's grace, we could do it by her grace. So first of all, let me thank her. Secondly, please, my apologies to you for making some small mistake in my furnishing the details about you. So kindly accept my apologies.
Not at all.
And
Not at all.
words, I'm at loss of words as to how to express my feeling of happiness, gratitude. It is so overwhelming. The experience you shared with us was so overwhelming. It came straight from your heart, because those experiences you were sharing with us, it was so inspiring to all of us. So today we were all very blessed to hear from you. And you were especially you had covered so many issues, like how your senior sadhak had guided you, how nothing we can do nothing but to make a space for the mother to work in us, and we can become intimate with her only by thinking and remembering and offering our works. And when we are doing things, we have to offer as an offering, we have to do things. And can resolve the issues of disharmony only by rising in our consciousness. And how she brought down peace and harmony in corner house, how you had some issues while preparing the food, how it was rectified by the grace of the mother, and you were able to serve the food for the children in time. And you have shared a few practical tips. That is, we have to think, you have to tell her everything as if she is present before you.
That's
Tell
very
all your
important.
plans. Whatever you do, you just speak to her, and that's how you can become intimate. How the snake god had promised to the mother that no snake would bite her children, and
Really,
how
really.
Lord Ganesha blessed
It's
Auroville
incredible.
with
Really.
plenty of water, and how the presence of Durga descended into her in response to an ardent aspiration of a devotee,
Of a devotee.
and how the mother showed all her four rupas to a sincere devotee. All these things, it was we were simply spellbound. I'm telling you, for the last, I don't know, the time flew past. We never felt the time was ticking by. It flew past, and we were really blessed to have you with us. I really wish that you please participate more and more with our satsangs.
Surely.
Share your thoughts, and it's
Surely.
so inspiring. Thank you very much. And today we'll conclude this event by our prayer music. Thank you very much.
Sure.